Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio Basics, Season 1, Episode 17, Hamvention Recap. Yours truly, along with Steve, T.O. How
Hey,
are
hey.
you doing, Steve?
I am starting to recover, so I'm doing pretty good, actually.
Good, good, because I spoke to Jason today, and Jason's got a pretty good cold. He was going to try to come on
Yeah.
tonight, but he said he's got a pretty good cold. And those kind of things happen when you go to large gatherings like this, and you bring
Yeah, any
something
large
back.
gathering.
Yeah, you bring something back. You're hopeful it's some ham radio gear or something, but then you end up bringing things back like colds and things like that. So that's definitely
Right.
not the fun case. So all told, I guess one of my first questions I wanted to ask you was, in terms of the number of people there, did you get a feel for what it was like compared to previous conventions?
I want to say it was exactly the same amount of people that was there last year, and I don't remember the number last year, and they haven't published the number this year, but easily 30,000 people showed up, easily.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because
And the fairgrounds at Xenia are huge, so it's not like you're all crowded into a tiny little hotel conference room. I mean, there's what, 6 buildings plus the infield and the racetrack, and then the one parking lot that they give over to do even more flea market stuff, and then there's some outdoor activities that are going on, and then there's the RV area. I mean, it's a huge complex.
Yeah, that is big. Now, see, I've been there before because I think I don't know if I mentioned to you or not. Two of my three children went to Cedarville University, and that's right. It's a stone's throw away from there, so I'm very familiar with the area, and I've been there before. I know what that's like, and I know it's huge. It is
Yeah.
it is really big. So I take it was like the flea market. It hadn't rained, so it was pretty good to walk in and stuff.
It hadn't rained for a while. It rained Saturday morning, but the rain was over with before the show started. So it rained like a little tiny bit overnight, and then again around, I don't know, 7:30, 8 a.m. Like if you were driving to get there at 8 a.m., you would have been driving in the rain, and then when you got there, it would have stopped. So
Okay.
it weather was great. I couldn't ask for better weather.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. So what I really liked was because I followed all you guys, and somebody posted, it's like, which entourage was your favorite? Okay, um,
Right.
I really kind of liked that. I thought that was real interesting. But one of the real interesting aspects of it was a gentleman who, like, what was it, 11,000 miles? Hayden came over for it, and
Right. Yep.
so what was it? I tell you, it looked like he was having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to kind of go in and go all in when you do something like that. I mean, he made a major commitment. He's been here for over 2 weeks now, and you're either going to have fun or you're just going to be a grumpy old man. So you might as well have fun.
It's best to, when things like that happen, you want to go ahead and have some fun. One of the other things that, obviously we know about the two new HTs that are coming out. Did you get a feel? Did either Ray or John say anything about, oh, this is going to be out this year, or we're probably going to see it next year, or?
Yeah, I'm under double secret clearance. I can't share anything with you guys.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I just got Ray accepted my friend request on Facebook and
Excellent.
sent me a real nice message. I told him, I said I'd have been there, but
Right.
and he felt pretty bad about that. He's a great guy. I really like him. I've seen and heard a lot of interaction with him, and it's been all good, and I'm really really happy about that. So I got to
Yeah.
ask you, did anything make it home with you?
Oh, I brought a lot of stuff home. I went there with zero expectations of buying anything at all. There was nothing that I had my eye on. I wasn't interested in anything. And you know how Hamfest goes, so I kind of expected that some things would follow me back. And I'll have a video coming out tomorrow about a couple of pickups that I got. But the big one that I've already revealed is the FT5D was on a fantastic deal. I was looking for a C4FM Fusion handheld to add to my collection, so I've got one for the major modes. I've got D-Star, DMR, and now I've got C4FM. And Ham Radio Outlet just knocked it out of the park with a deal. It was $299 as the Hamfest special.
Yeah, it was like over $100 off. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you
Wow.
can't turn that down because I was looking at like 170 to 180 for a brand new FT70D, which compared to the 5D is just nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a killer deal. Well, I also know Gigaparts, I think, pretty much matched that price as well too. DX Engineering
They were close. They were a little higher because I was trying to find like how much did I actually save. DX Engineering was over $100 more, and then
yeah.
Gigaparts was like $50 more or something like that. So there's a
Yeah,
pretty good margin on those radios.
Yeah, I could kick myself because I got mine at DX Engineering. I didn't think they were going to be on sale. Like, well, back in December, back around Christmas time, they did have a sale, and it was, I think, both Ham Radio Outlet and Gigaparts and DX Engineering had them for like $100 off. So I could kind of kick myself for that. But it's better to have it than not. As far as
Right.
as far as not doing that. One of the things I was kind of looking for myself was I really wanted, and that's one of the things I was bummed out about. I was looking to see if I can get an Elecraft tuner, because I know those babies are few and far between.
You talking about the T1 or like the KAT 100?
The T1.
Yeah, those T1s are magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and because it's why they say months on their website, and you go out to eBay and it's like you roll the dice and nothing there. So I figured, it might be a good chance with as many people will be coming here that maybe one of them might be having that. I mean, that was the only thing that I really had as far as intentions to look for was concerned.
DX Engineering had something very similar. It was the Elecraft T1 case. So I'm like, ooh, what's that? And then when I got up closer, it was like, oh, that's something entirely different. It was like a reference signal generator or something, and it was the same case, the same color scheme, same size, obviously, but it was not a T1 tuner because I was like, oh, I almost was like, I should just buy that because I can, scalp it on eBay for $100 more than I paid for it here because they're unobtainium, like you said.
Oh yeah, Got another question for you. And I know, that, a lot of people were talking about, of course, the two HTs that came out, but I was wondering did you hear anything about like from Ray about the 7100? Any word that might be coming back out again?
I didn't hear anything about it, but ICOM's got some catching up to do. I think I was going to say this earlier. I think Yaesu has released a new radio at Huntsville like every year for the last couple of years now because they did the 500 now. Before that was the 200. Before that was the 710. Before that was the FTDX10. They're kind of just like working their tails off over at Yaesu, and ICOM hasn't done a whole lot. They've done the 50, the ID50A handheld, which came out right before Hamvention, and I mean the 7100 or the 7300. Both of those are in my mind. I zero information on this, but in my mind, both of those are slated for replacement. And I am a big fan of the 7100. I think it's a good form factor. I think there's a couple of ways that it fits your lifestyle better than you think it might, and it does like a ton of stuff. I'm a big fan of that radio. I sold my 7300 because the 7100 is good enough, and the 705 is good enough also. And I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for ICOM, but they've got some catching up to do for sure.
Yeah, the
905, Jeff. Yep.
Yeah, the 7100. It's so versatile, and like you said, you could have it. You could use it mobile. You could use it at home. You could use it doing POTA. I mean, it has so many wide different uses, and the bands that are on there. I mean, it's pretty much. I don't like to use the term shack in a box, but it's pretty close to being a shack in a box.
Well, that's the technical definition, the industry term for shack in the box. That's what that one is designed for. So they've had the 703, which was QRP, the 706, which was a 100 watter, the 7100, well, the 7000 that replaced the 706, now the 7100. It's time. I mean, we're due.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. So I got to ask this, okay? When you guys were all going around, so who did you hang? I know you hung out a lot with Hayden, but who else was in the entourage?
Yeah, so I hung out with the Coffee and Ham Radio's crew a lot. All four of us were there this year, and then I hung out with the Ham Radio Crash Course guys, Josh, and I hung out with Jason. Jason brought his trailer, so that was kind of our base of operations. We all went back to the trailer and hung out there. And I kind of just made the rounds. There was a couple of times where I was just flying solo or just hanging out with people who I knew, who knew me from the event or from YouTube. And there's so much stuff to do, and you make so many friends if you're not even trying. I mean, it's really you're really blessed to have as many friends as you have in this hobby today, because of being able to be connected on YouTube and on Discord and on the air and all the other places that we've made these communities, and it's great.
That's just absolutely awesome. And I gotta agree with you, because I'm also in the drone community as well, and it seems to be pretty close. But I've sensed the ham radio community, especially the YouTubers, are pretty tight knit group, and that's one of the things that I really like about it. And having talked to a lot of you guys, and that's just I get a lot of good vibes and a lot of good feeling from all
Yeah.
that. So it's just really good. Now it was fun.
Yeah, and you're going to see it even better at Huntsville, because we're going to spend all our time up on Montesano, and then we're going to go down for that one day of the show.
Well, I'm kind of debating whether or not, and a lot's going to depend upon my doctor's visit tomorrow and whether or not I have to have surgery, because I told my boss, I said, no surgery. It's 4 to 6 weeks before I'll be able to drive back into the office and do
So by
this.
boss, you mean wife, right?
Well, yeah, that's the boss. I met my manager, okay, at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told him, I said, if I have to have surgery, it's probably going to be about 8. So I'm really kind of hoping that we avoid the surgery route. I mean, I don't want to join my daughter, my son, my older son, and my son-in-law. They all have metal in their bodies, and I don't want to join that club. I just don't
Right.
plan on it anytime soon. Um, one of the things that I really liked from what I saw was, it was hilarious, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but Mike, Mike came up with
Yep.
Jason, and it was hilarious. He did like a vlog, and I was laughing so hard at that vlog. It was just an absolute blast watching that. That was fun. And Mike is a great guy. I've had him on. He's just a hoot. I just absolutely love him.
Yeah, definitely. I did not catch Mike's vlog yet. I'm still trying to catch up on all the videos. Honestly, it was kind of a non-stop scenario. I
Oh
picked up
yeah.
Hayden on Wednesday. I got up at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, and I didn't really stop running until about 4 or 5 p.m. when I got home on Monday.
Wow. Wow. Um, one of the things for us was we were able to apply for insurance because we did Verbo for our
Hmm.
place back in Columbus where we were going to stay. So we applied for insurance after the fact. So we're submitting a claim and looking at the paperwork. Like, what's your reason for not coming? Here's the reason for not coming. Okay,
Right.
and submit them a mountain load of paperwork from the ER and the other doctors. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of. Otherwise, we're out $800, and I'm not.
Oh,
Not a real big fan of that. So,
yeah.
um,
Bill's staying in fancy hotels.
oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
we ended up, when we used Verbo before back in December when we went up to visit my daughter and son-in-law, and our room was basically like $99 a day, and it was a one bedroom apartment with a laundry in a nice area. It was a decent apartment, but they're sparsely furnished. Okay, like the couch and the love seat were very sparse, and there was no nightstand. No, you had to use the overhead light in the master bedroom and all. It was just too many, a lot of inconsistencies. But for $99, really couldn't beat it because you
Right.
had your own kitchen there. So, and you
Yeah, for
were,
$99, you're getting more than a Super 8, so I'd be happy with that.
yeah, and it was at a good location for us too, as far as that was concerned.
I
So,
I tell people I have one requirement for a hotel when I travel, because whatever I travel, I am out all day long, and then I will come back to the hotel at like 9 p.m. and get changed and go right to bed, because I'm not there to spend time in the hotel. My one requirement for a hotel is no bulletproof glass in the lobby.
mhm. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And I've stayed at places like that before too. Unfortunately, that's just
Yeah.
happened to be along the way. Um, so did anybody win anything from Hamvention?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything, but I wasn't taking inventory of that kind of stuff, so I don't know. All of the YouTubers don't get the ability to, the ones that get media passes don't get the ability to enter into any of the prize drawings.
Right.
So we'd have to buy additional tickets. You don't get the tickets when you participate. And I didn't really pay much attention to the prizes. There was a video out on what the prizes were. I didn't even watch that, because there was a period in my life where I would go to places like that and I would put in and I would win every single time. And now I feel like I've done my part. I want to give it to everybody else instead.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because what I did was I bought our tickets before I bought my media pass. So I didn't mind. Well, for me, I mean, I didn't get a media pass for my wife, so it would have been legit for her.
Right.
So she could have entered.
It's not illegitimate. You just don't get the free ticket with your purchase price because you didn't make a purchase.
Right. Well, I know one of the prizes was a 7610. So, I mean, that's
nice.
Nothing to sneeze at. So
that was the same prize at Orlando this year too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but there's a guy who runs. He's a ham radio guy, and he has a coffee company. And oh my gosh, I forget the name of it.
Steve, and it's Homebrew Coffee Company, I believe.
Homebrew Coffee Company, and Ham Radio Concepts. What's his name?
Eric.
Eric, yeah. He posted a thing that they're having a contest for win a 7300, which
nice.
Nothing to shake your head at. So
that's a great radio. It'll take you a long time to use all the features in a 7300.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely a fantastic radio. I mean, ICOM did a great job with that. And the one thing, I know I'm diverging from Hamcation stuff.
It's all good. It's all ham.
The one thing I really kind of like about that radio, and it's kind of the same thing on the 705, is that menu system is pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to follow. So that's one of the things that I like about those radios, because somebody said the 7300, you'll pick up the 705 and vice versa. I mean, they pretty much will kind of like feed into one another as far as that's concerned. So
they put a lot of time and effort into that interface, and it really shows. There's a lot of like highly context sensitive things that just make sense. So like the 891 gets a really bad rap with its menu system, and I can kind of agree with that. And I'm not really an 891 power user, but on the ICOM, if you're in CW mode, the power button is right there. If you're in SSB mode, the power button is right there. If you're in FM mode, the power button it's in the exact same spot every single time. On the 891, you have different menu options for the different modes for their different power settings, and it's all different. So AM is different, SSB is different, data is different, FM is different, and are all in different locations. They're organized in groups that are similar, like all the FM stuff is together, but you have to go hunting for it. I just want one power setting, and I don't mind if you memorize it per band. That would be nice, but it's just there's like 7 power settings inside an 891.
Yeah, one of the things when I just got my 891 because it just came in. One of the things that somebody suggested to get because of that is that one of those nifty guides that it really helps out a lot. And I know there's a couple of getting started videos with the 891, so I'm going to watch those. But it's like, okay, everything got put on hold with this. Okay, life is so much different right now because my wife calls me a toddler right now. I have learned to get dressed everything except I can do everything except my socks. Yeah. And I ordered some athletic shorts, so I'm wearing those. So because pulling up anything else isn't going to happen right now. That's just that's just not part of the game. And then right behind me is where I'm sleeping in the den here because I need to have my arm propped up at night.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I thought it looked like you were sleeping on the couch there. I thought Mrs. Ham Radio Basics might not be happy with you.
Yes, I was going to say maybe too many purchases from DX Engineering and HRO showing up on the front door, but no, I wish that was the case, but no, and I'm real hopeful. I really don't think I'm going to have surgery. The doctor told me, he said, probably what I won't be able to do is like this with my middle finger. He said, you'll probably be able to go three quarters way. But I'm like,
but you can go the other way, this one instead of that one.
Yeah. It'll work the other way. So I told him, I said, as long as I can do that, I'm good. Okay.
Right.
He asked me if I
priorities.
Golf, and I said, no, I said, I fly drones and I'm a ham radio enthusiast. He says, you'll be fine. He says, don't worry.
You have enough extreme hobbies. Don't take up golf.
Yeah. No golfing for you. You're done with that kind of stuff. So, where did you guys go to eat? Did you try anything new or same place?
No. They all went to Texas Roadhouse over and over and over and over again. I'm like, can we pick another place? Texas Roadhouse is good, but for every meal. And then there was fair food at the Hamvention that was really good. There was a really good rib place. Ape got a pork chop sandwich that he can't stop talking about. I had a hero that was pretty good. What else was there? Oh, there was this one place. It was like fried cheese on a stick, and I was like, that's weird. Why would I want like one mozzarella stick? No, this thing came out and it was bigger than the corn dogs, so that was pretty interesting. And then
Wow.
I had my first corn dog ever, and I know why I never tried them because they're not that great. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I mean, I've been to went to the Ohio State Fair, and yeah, it's pretty much what you see at the. And it sounds like some good food there, but it's like
Yeah,
you better have your cash and a lot of it. I
yeah.
mean, it's like
And then
we
some
went
people
to
raved about the bourbon chicken, but I didn't like the bourbon chicken. It didn't sit well with me.
yeah, we don't we went when we went to Hamcation in Orlando a couple of years ago. It was like before I looked at it, it was like $30, two hamburgers, two sodas, and two fries. And I'm looking at my wife. I'm just like, okay, just And I told her, I said that's probably a pretty good price what we're getting right there for that.
Right.
Well, real interesting. We got bunches of Texas Roadhouses down here, and they're always packed all the time. But the owner of Texas Roadhouse opened up a new restaurant, and it's called Bubba's 33.
Oh,
And there's
interesting.
there's several of them in Florida. And my stepdaughter said to Valerie and me, said, "You guys need to go there." It said, it's some of the best wings, the best ribs, the best hamburgers, the best. Well, we went there. I ordered boneless wings, and they were the best boneless wings I ever had. Their burger is to die for. It is so good. Their onion rings are out of this world. And it's called Bubba's 33, and the 33 comes from when Prohibition was repealed. So,
Okay.
but it's a sports theme bar. I mean, you could tell. I mean, there's probably about, I'm going to say, anywhere from 70 to 80 TVs in the restaurant. And it's right next to a Texas Roadhouse. I mean, just right
Right.
next to it there. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I can go to Roadhouse a couple times, but I want to have a little bit of variety. That would
Right.
kind of that would kind of sit over a little bit better. So, how far were you guys away from Hamvention where you stayed?
So all of us were within like a 20-minute radius, and I think that has more to do with, I don't know if you've noticed this when you drive around Xenia or Dayton, there's like 900 turns between you and the thing that's 2 miles away. So everything took a little
Yeah.
bit longer to get to just because of the layout of the town.
Yeah, the town is just it's the oddest layout for a town I've ever been through in my life. Well, my son, there's a 4-lane road that goes through there, and it's like an expressway speeds, and it cuts through Xenia, and it has lights on it, which is kind of, I hate those 4-lane roads that have lights on it. Well, he and my daughter, he was going, it was his 5th year at Cedarville, and he was taking her out to lunch, and he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. And somebody had stopped there, all the traffic was stopped in front of him. So he had to jam on the brakes, and there was a Chevy S10, and the front end of the Honda Accord that he was driving went under the back end of the S10 and got stopped by the spare tire. He ended up busting up he had a compound fracture of his right ankle. Had to have surgery that night. My daughter was okay. And oh, it was just what a gigantic mess that was. But he was okay. That was the best thing. But I go to, he's just like, oh, sorry about the car and everything. I said, don't worry about the car. I said, however, they're getting ready to wheel him up to surgery. However, if anything had happened to your sister, they wouldn't be wheeling you to surgery right now. They'd be wheeling you to autopsy right now, because
Yeah.
I would have finished the job. Okay. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Dad." Well, it was real interesting. They were just it was at the large hospital in Dayton, and I even forget the name of it. They were switching from a paper system to a computer system at the time, and they gave him a shot of morphine. And I had gotten up there to him, and about 20 minutes later, they were getting ready to give him another shot of morphine. And I said, "Wait a minute here. Don't you know he just had a shot?" Well, I don't have a record of that. I said, he just had one. Okay. I said, I know enough. I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but I know enough. If you give him another shot of morphine, he could have cardiac arrest. Okay. So we're
Yeah.
not going to do that. So I talked to them there and got that whole situation straightened out. But that was my experience, one and only experience there. And I don't ever care to repeat that again. So, but
I have
yeah,
not had good luck with hospitals, no.
Xenia is, well, that whole, it's a very very interesting type of area down there. Well, my son had to go to court over in Xenia because evidently he got a ticket for his accident. Go figure. I don't know what, and oh, it was what a gigantic mess that was. That was a day I just don't ever want to repeat again. So,
Right.
um, as far as as far as the guys are concerned, what do you think? What did either Ape or any of the other guys did they find some things and be able to take them home?
Oh yeah, we all found some good stuff. I mean, you can't go to a ham fest that's that big, and I mean, no matter how hard you try to come away empty-handed, you're going to find something that you can't live without.
Yeah, yeah, that's one. That's one of those things. That's why like I said, yeah, I would have plans to get, like that Elecraft T1, but there was, I had a Yaesu, and I forget the name of the thing. It's name of the HT. They discontinued it, and it was the one you could put the GPS module on it, and
Oh, it's like the
um,
VX3 or VX something.
yeah, it was a VX something or other, and I could kick myself because I got it right when I got my technician, and then it was just way too over my head. I said I'm going to sell it, da da da. And I'm looking at it now. Boy, that was one of the things I really regretted selling.
Right.
And if I would find one in a good condition, because when they go out on eBay, they're gone. They're just like that. I mean, any of the good ones. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that if it pops up, I would get it along with a T1, because I really would like to get that. I know that's like it's like a pie in the sky kind of dream as far as that's concerned. Well, I saw
Right.
today they've already set dates for next year. It's May 17th, 18th, 19th for 2024. I went out to the website, and what was real nice was I emailed the um, Hamvention guy there, and he's going to send my credentials out to me. He said he'll drop them off in the mail to me. He felt real sorry that I couldn't go, but yeah, he said he would get them out to me. I mean, I had bags of swag to give to everybody. I mean,
Nice.
I had that all planned out, all ready to go, and then boom, this happened on Sunday, right before Wednesday when we were supposed to go, and we were kind of debating and whether or not we should still go. But it ended up, I told my wife, I said, I would have to do everything with one arm. And that would mean you would have to do the driving around there. And she's not familiar with the area at all. And I told her, I says, it's probably best we just kind of like park it here and, cut our losses and look at this again next year. So, but Huntsville is under consideration because it's probably I'm going to say 8 to 10 hours from us.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not a bad trip at all for us. The only thing that scares me is driving in the state of Florida. Steve, I've driven through Chicago, I've driven through New York. It doesn't scare me compared to driving here in Florida. And well, my wife has a nickname. We have a 6-lane U.S. highway right out by us, and we call it Mad Max Thunderdome because it's just, no rules, just just close your eyes and go kind of a thing, and it's bad. It's just really, really bad. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time, and I've been watching the videos nonstop for the past several days, and it's just a lot of smiles, a lot of good things, and a lot of people looks like had such a great time there. Um, did you have any closing thoughts about your experience this year?
No, I think it's one of those things that you have to do if you're a ham radio operator. You have to get out there at least once, and if you know any other hams in your area, just tell them you're going this year, and here's your hotel room, and you owe me $400. Okay, I guess I'm going this year. That's how I wound up going last year. One of the guys in my ham club was like, "We're going to Dayton." Yep, sure, yeah, we are.
Well, okay.
Yeah. And you can't take it all in one sitting. You can't take it all in 2 days. We were there for 2.5 days. Friday all day, Saturday all day, Sunday. Sunday's a free day. I mean, it's even easier to get in on Sunday. And Sunday was just about a half a day. Then we went to the Air Force Museum. There's a lot of stuff to do in the area. You can see the Air Force Museum. You can go to the Dara Dayton Ham Club that puts on the event. You can go to their Ham Shack, which is a really big building because they're, as you can imagine, after putting this thing on for so many years, they're very well funded and they totally deserve it. And then you can also go to the Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting, and that was actually a Voice of America radio station way back when that was a bigger thing in the U.S. than it is now. That's a very interesting place to see a lot of history there.
Yeah, I've been to the Air Force Museum. Did you guys have a chance to go over and see the Air Force One part of it?
Yep. That was
Yeah.
so I went with Hayden this year, and Hayden was like, I specifically want to go see the Air Force One. And you can see a couple of generations. They don't have the current one there, but they have the previous generation, which was the one that they flew Kennedy in, and that one was used up until the 90s.
Yeah,
So there's some pretty good technology inside of that aircraft. You can see the decryption keys that are in there. You can't see the key itself. You can see the decryption machines, and they've got, as you go through from oldest to newest, you can see that the radio stations got better and better and became more and more of a priority to have communications on board. And the one that Kennedy was on had 2 complete side-by-side ham shacks, well, not ham shacks, radio shacks set up, complete with oscilloscopes and decryption machines and multiple radios. And it was done up really nice, like somebody was going to be manning that all day long and needed to be in comfort, as opposed to sitting on a stool looking at a radio that was modified for single sideband, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, it was one of the things I found interesting because I did that tour too. Is trying to get a picture without the flash bouncing off the plexiglass inside there because
Right.
yeah, but it was neat seeing the planes that Eisenhower used, and then the one that Roosevelt had used was there.
Hmm.
And then they had that lift to get him in and out of the plane, which I thought was real interesting. It was just, and I love going to the Air Force Museum, and just walking through there and look at all the great history. I mean, that's just absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
They've got Apollo stuff there. They've got drones there. They've got a couple of rockets. They have the Valkyrie, which, that's a spectacle
Yeah.
in and of itself. Like, that's probably the world's fastest plane. It's just kind of spend a whole day there. You won't see everything, and you'll come away just kind of in awe of how large everything was. There's also a couple of nuclear bombs just sprinkled throughout the whole thing. So
Oh
you
yeah,
can see that.
you could walk through the bomb bay of a B-36, which was the one of the largest planes ever built. I mean, those things were ginormous. And I back in the day, I knew a guy there's a B-52 in there,
Hmm.
and I knew a gentleman who piloted that B-52. I think he was the last pilot for that, and then they donated it to the Air Force Museum. Well, not too far north, probably about 45 minutes north, is Wapakoneta, and that's where Neil Armstrong is from. And they have a great museum. It's kind of out of the way, but they have a great museum there, and they have Gemini 6, and that was the first Gemini mission he went on. And if you know anything about it, he and I forget who was with him. They were docked with an Agena target vehicle, and their retro rockets or their side thrusters got locked, and they started going into a spin, and they couldn't get out of the spin. There's a great movie about that. It's called Armstrong. But a lot of great memorabilia in that place. I really like that. So
Yeah.
before we close out, I want to greet everybody here, and I'm sorry I didn't do that. Jeff K was here, Janice is here, Chris was here tonight. Let's see who else. T Ray was here. Trying to see who else. Sam Weaver was here. I'm sorry. I normally do this up front and center, but
You were excited.
I was excited, absolutely. So Steve, thanks a lot for stopping by tonight. Glad
Yeah,
you
no
had
problem.
a good time. It helped gives us a little bit of a peek inside of it, and Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and we don't have this happen. I'll be there along with you guys, and I'm looking forward to it because I know I just looked at all the videos. You guys were just having a great time, and that's what it's all about, and that's what this hobby's all about.
It was more about, for me, it was more about hanging out with friends and family than it was about going and seeing all the vendors and stuff. I only went into like 2 buildings the whole time I was there.
And
Am
I
I a
don't blame
part
you.
of the QRP club? Janice, I don't know specifically what QRP club you're talking about, but I do operate QRP if that's what it takes to get in there. I have lots of QRP radios. Love them.
Awesome. Well, Steve, thanks so much. We appreciate it. And thanks everybody for stopping by. Really appreciate that. And I know people have been asking, I'll give you guys an update on whether or not I have to have surgery. I'll post that probably on the community page just to let you guys know. But thanks to everybody again for watching, and 7-3s to everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.